Adjustment meeting to order. We are October 21st, 2015, 6:31:07. And if we can all stand up, please. And Ms. Hill, will you do the honor of leading us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Almost fell off the chair. I know. May we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Philippe,
Yes.
Ms. Cohen, Mr. McDermott, Ms. Joseph, Ms. McGlure-Fenelon, Ms. Boole,
Present.
Ms. Hill,
Present.
Mrs. Steam Irvin. We have quorum.
Thank you. Any? Okay. Mr. LeBrun, would you make the announcement?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Chair, and good evening, members of the board and members of the audience. Please be advised that all the items on the agenda tonight are quasi-judicial in nature. The applicant or duly authorized agent for the applicant must be present. If no representative is present, the application will be tabled to the next Board of Adjustment meeting. When the petition is announced, the applicant or his or her agent shall approach the microphone and state his or her name and address for the record. Any interested party wishing to speak on any item may approach the podium after the board has opened the public hearing. Each party shall approach the mic and state his or her name and address for the record and shall address his or her comments to the board. Each party shall speak for not more than 3 minutes in order to provide for order and time for other interested parties to address their concerns or comments to the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. LeBrun. And as since these items are quasi-judicial, if you wish to speak on the item, I will ask our attorney to administer the oath.
Yes, Madam Chair. And for the record, I would like to recognize the presence of Dottie Joseph. Welcome.
Thank you.
Anyone desiring to speak on any one of the items presented tonight, please stand and raise your right hand. Anyone desiring to speak in favor, on behalf of, or against any item, stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. You may be seated. Madam Chair, you may proceed.
Thank you. Do we have any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Item V1315 here. Capoeira Abica, this item has been withdrawn. There was some discrepancy with the application, and the applicant has since withdrawn that application.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And if there was some slight modification that was made, to the previous staff reports, yes, and I think, Whitney has already ended out, the new reports. There are some scrivener's errors, and then we fix that, and then we're trying to give you a clean. But the recommendation has not substantially changed. It's just, some scrivener's errors. We're trying to address that since we had.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. May I have an approval for the minutes of July 15th?
Motion to approve.
Moved by Ms. Joseph and seconded by Mr. McDermott. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, wait a minute. Are we sleeping? Okay. Communications?
Yes, yeah. We do have a new zoning administrator, and then tonight will be my last meeting with you. I've been doing the city planning, the planning commission and the board of adjustment. So as the city planner, and then so now we do have a new zoning administrator, which is Mr. Andrew Dixon, and he will be taking the reins from now on, and then you're in good hands. So
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome. Okay. All right. All right, let's go with the,
I
yes.
believe that there are board communications, at least from one board member.
Yes.
Okay, if you may disclose that communication and the scope of the communication Mr. McNear made?
Yes.
Thank you.
I know on agenda item B 1515, Christ Victory Church, I know the individuals who are the applicants and have spoken to them on a couple of occasions.
I'm not sure if your mic is on, sir.
Okay. Can you hear me now? It's on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, much better.
Now.
Okay.
Okay. All right. On the agenda item V 1515, Christ Victory Church, I know the individuals involved in this case and have spoken to them on several occasions. I'm not employed or hired by them. I'm just somebody they consulted with.
Okay.
You have no particular interest in the organization or the entity?
No.
Okay, thank you, sir. Madam Chair, you may proceed.
Thank you. All right, with that said, we'll take our first case. V9-15, Philip Soto, 13655 Northeast 15 Court. Is the applicant? Okay, you may come up. And
Good evening.
good evening. Hold on. Don't be nervous, we don't bite. Okay.
I do. She doesn't.
We'll allow Mr. LeBrun to give us some background,
Little nibble.
and then you'll have an opportunity to speak on your case. Thank you.
Yes, good evening. This item is a request for variance to Article 4, Division 2, Section 4-203 of the city's land development regulations to allow the continued use and maintenance of an existing enclosed patio addition to an existing single-family residence located at 13655 Northeast 15 Court in the R2 residential district to set back 12.21 feet from the rear property line instead of the 25 foot, which is required by code. The applicant's property is located at the junction of Northeast 15 Court and Northeast 136, and it's about 9,000 square feet, and which has been developed with a one-story single-family home since 1963. The applicant, Mr. Philip Soto, purchased the property I think last year or 2013. And then as part of the city's new regulation, certificate of reoccupancy, there was some violations, that was noted when the applicant, before the applicant closed on the property. So they had a stipulation that he would address those violations, within 6 months after the closing. And then, because there was some work that was done without permit by the previous owner. So when the applicant, applied for the building permit, as zoning reviewed the application, it was noted that the patio that was built in the back also didn't meet the required 25-foot setback. So as such, the applicant has filed the application, and then we have reviewed it. And based on the criteria that is set in the code for the review or the granting of a variance, the code requires that 4 or the 6 a criteria listed in Article 3, Division 6, Section 3-606 must be satisfied for the granting of a variance. In reviewing the applicant's request, it has met 4 of the 6 criteria which are listed in the staff report, and then staff has made a recommendation that the applicant be able to keep that setback and finalize the building permit, so we can finally avoid some code enforcement violation that maybe issued because of the property being not in compliance. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Soto, now is your turn.
Yes, good evening to you all. Anyways, I purchased the home back in September 14th, 2013. Prior to settling on a deal, I was made well aware that it would need. All right. Sorry about that. Anyways, I was.
Time out. Your name and address for the record. Sorry.
My name is Philip Soto. I live at 13655 Northeast 15th Court,
North Miami, Florida 33161.
You may proceed, thank you.
Okay. I purchased the house back in September 14th, 2013. I was well aware of what it needed. I purchased it under a conditional reoccupancy, so several items had to be repaired or brought up to code and so forth. So I said, I'll do whatever is necessary to make sure that the house meets all the regulations so I could live in the city. So that included smoke detectors that were hardwired into the house, refinishing the brick wall out front, wrought iron, whatever was needed. Then an unfortunate expense came up. The AC went out, had to do that as well. So I've done everything that I can to make sure that I meet all the requirements in the city. Now what's left is an existing structure that was left up there. The problem is that they left the aluminum roof up there, and before I could proceed, I had to make sure that I go ahead and find several contractors, get several bids to make sure that it's done properly. I know that the city requires that as far as an electrical problem, plumbing, any kind of roof structure has to be done with somebody with a GC license. So that was brought to my attention, so I said fine. So seven different contractors I met with. Some of them were a little bit shady, some were very reputable, but I went with the last one because he mentioned the setback rule, which the other previous 6 did not mention anything. So I want to do right by the city. I'm a city employee by day, and then in the evening I have my FedEx job. So I do want to make it legal, and had I known there would be so much trouble, I would have kept on looking for the house, but the inspectors came by and it seemed everything was okay. My realtor, he met with them and he talked to them. I couldn't get off on time from the city because my duties at the time wouldn't allow me. So he kept me informed over the phone, and later on we spoke to the owner, and I said, whatever else needs to be done, just keep me informed. So what's there is, it was a patio, they enclosed it, but they left the aluminum structure up there, and what I need now is permission to hire a general contractor to remove it and put a real roof up there, so it's hurricane proof and it meets all the requirements you all set.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Anyone for or against that would like to open public hearing? Okay. Board discussion, questions from board members?
A real roof on the patio, or you just?
Point of order, sorry. Please close the public hearing.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
It's been too long. We close public hearing,
That's
and
why-
now board discussion.
That's why I'm here.
I know.
That's why we invited.
Good evening, and thank you for taking a vested interest into our city. Not only do you work here, but you vested into giving back to the city by becoming a resident. So thank you first and foremost for that. My question is, are you talking about the roof on the patio or your roof in general?
No, the roof in general is in great condition, knock on wood. It was, they had a patio in the backyard, and what they did is they enclosed that patio. But in doing so, they left the aluminum roof there, still intact.
Oh, I see.
So now it requires, the structure is in pretty good condition. What needs to be done is the aluminum roof needs to be taken off, and a solid roof, a real roof, will be put on with a licensed general contractor. That the city requires that.
Madam Chairwoman?
Hold on. Are you done, Ms. Boulay?
Is it an extension of the actual roof that you have?
No, it's the actual roof is still there. That patio, I believe, the people who lived there before I bought the house, they're the second owner.
Okay.
They lived there for 26 years, and I take it that they had done it with the intent to do the real roof, maybe. And what they did is, they left that on there, and I guess they were using it for storage purposes.
Okay.
But I want to put a real roof on there for several reasons. It has to be legal, it has to be safe, and it'll give me peace of mind also.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. McDermott?
Yes, in looking at this, seems to make a lot of sense to me what's going on, so I'd like to move approval of this item.
I'll second.
Okay. I just have a question in the sense that we said they enclosed the patio. What does that mean? How was it enclosed? And my question was really for Mr. LeBlanc. How do we know that the structure, the structure itself meets code and is safe?
This application came to us, stemmed from the fact that it was denied at zoning review to the building permitting process. So that's how this application came about. They applied for a building permit to legalize that structure, and as part of that, zoning has to review it. And when zoning, that file was routed to zoning, then we realized the setback also was in compliance. But that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to legalize that, make sure that structurally, mechanically, electrically,
Right.
Everything is, every building code is met.
There's been a certificate of reoccupancy issued, and this property owner, in essence, is trying to cure the issues caused by prior property owners, and I think he ought to be commended for that. And we're bringing the property to full compliance. Thank you.
Exactly.
So, any other discussion? We've had a motion and a second. All right. Roll call, please.
Ms. Philippe,
Yes.
Ms. Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. McDermott,
Yes.
Ms. Joseph,
Yes.
Ms. Bull,
Yes.
Ms. Hill,
Yes.
and Ms. Dean Irvin.
Yes. Okay. Well. Yeah, I know a lot. So you've been approved.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate it.
Good luck.
And by the way,
Not bad for nervous.
as an aside, as an employee of the city, we appreciate the fact if you're being an employee of the city that you reinvest in your own community where you work, so,
Absolutely.
yes, so,
Yeah, we came here back in 1977, so I've seen the city grow bad and good times, so,
yeah.
Good times ahead.
yes, absolutely.
Always.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Happy Halloween. All right.
Thank you. And, yes.
Let's
Before we move on, let the record reflect that Ms. Estime Irvin has joined us and has participated in the first case. All right. Thank you. Next case, V dash 10 dash 15 711 11901 dash 11975 Northwest 7th Avenue.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Mario Garcia Serra. Address is 600 Brickell Avenue. Attorney representing 7-Eleven Inc.
Thank you. Mr. LeBron?
Yes, again, this item is for special exception use. Per the requirements of Article 4, Division 3, Section 4-302 of the city's land development regulations to allow a proposed automobile service station at the property located at 11901-11975 Northwest 7th Avenue in the C1 Commercial District. Special exception to be reviewed on the criteria set forth in Article 3, Division 5, Section 3-504 of the Land Development Regulation. Currently, the subject property has an Old Western and a car wash. This is those two properties that contiguous properties at the northeast corner of 119 and Northwest 7th Avenue. And the applicant already came for the intent to put a 7-Eleven there. They would tear down both properties to bring that 7-Eleven. They already went to a DRC approval, and then which was approved. And to ensure that all concurrency determinations are met and all the other city codes and regulations are met. But because the use in that district, in the C1 district, requires special exception use approval by the Board of Adjustment, so that's why this item is before you tonight. And when we view under the criteria of Article 3, Division 5, Section 3-504 of the Cities Code, indeed, most of the applicable standards, for the granting of that special exception use are met. The use is indeed listed as a special exception. They are appropriate in access, for the estimated traffic, because the traffic impact, from that type of use would not severely diminish, traffic on either Northwest 7th Avenue or Northwest 119th Street. There's enough egress and ingress to the site, there are also adequate parkings, even though they're going to provide a convenience store. There's adequate parking for the occupants of that use. As far as landscaping, the property would not abut any residential zoning district or residential structure, so this wasn't applicable. And then all the other basic public service in terms of water, sewer, police, will also be available and provided to the site. There will be no increase in such demand also. And based on this analysis, staff believes that the use would be in keeping with the purpose and intent of the city's LDR. Even though it's there are certain conditions that we attach in it, and I think this would be. This can help, because 7th Avenue right now, we've been trying to the CPND department to kind of bring redevelopment to that part of the city. And 7th Avenue is in dire need. And then as we go to the further north, we had a banner storage coming in, and this is our new development coming. And we hope, by having new development coming to 7th Avenue, that would kind of serve as a catalyst to bring further redevelopment and go along that side of the city. So staff recommends approval of this application, and subject to the condition even listed in your staff report. And one of the conditions we want to add on the record, as I spoke with our city attorney yesterday, that also the business tax receipt, which is basically the occupational license, from the city clerk's office, only be issued upon the issuance of a CU, which is because they both mechanism go hand in hand. So we would just want to add that also to the record. So not just the CU, but also the BTR. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm joined today by Austin Rosen of 7-Eleven Inc., along with Charlie Carpenter, Bill Pfeffer, and Justin Thompson, who are all part of the development team. We might call upon them to answer questions if necessary. The board that I put up there shows an aerial photo of the site. It's a little bit over half an acre in size, located just west of I-95, which you'll see on the far right of the image there, along 7th Avenue between Northwest 119th Street and 120th Street. We're proposing to demolish the existing restaurant and self-service car wash that are on that site, and to build a new 7-Eleven convenience store and gas station there, which now put up a site plan of the proposed development. So here's the site plan, and indicating.
Use the mic,
Excuse me,
please.
sir, yes, on the mic. Yes, thank you.
You'll see, let me see if I just, I can move this over here.
Yeah.
Perfect. Can go around the whole room. Okay, so you'll see here on the board where the 7-Eleven store is proposed for, it's gonna be a little bit over 3,000 square feet in size. You have accessory parking here. This square in the middle is the canopy over which the gas station pumps are going to be. The sort of round or oval symbols that you see there are actually the underground gas tanks that are gonna be underground, of course, supplying the pumps. Access both from 119th Street as well as 7th Avenue. Here we have elevations of how the structure would look like. Here are the elevations facing 7th Avenue and 119th Street, along with some signage. Then the other side's facing east, where there's a neighboring property, as well as 120th Street, which would be sort of the rear of the property. Indication also of how the canopies over the gas station pumps would look like. This image shows the signage. Since it's an entryway to the city, this intersection very much serves as an entryway to the western end of the city. We have also included as part of our proposal a Welcome to North Miami sign, Welcome to the City of North Miami monument sign that will be located right at the intersection of 7th Avenue and 119th Street. As we mentioned before, this is a very important and prominent intersection within the city, and we believe that the presence of such a well-regarded national brand as 7-Eleven is appropriate and beneficial for both 7-Eleven and the City of North Miami. The gas station component requires a special exception approval, which is why we are before you tonight. All other aspects of the project comply with the code. Your staff has determined that we satisfy the applicable criteria for a special exception and is recommending approval with conditions, all of which are acceptable to us, including the last one that was added onto the record here right now. We ask that you follow their recommendation and vote to approve the special exception. We, of course, have a significant team here ready for any questions that you might have, and if necessary, I'll reserve a little time for rebuttal in case there's any objectors here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. With that said, thank you. We'll open public hearing. Anyone for or against this item? Speak now. Okay. I'd like to say, before I open up,
Point of order?
I'm real excited. Yes.
Point of order.
We're closed.
Thank you.
We're closing public hearing. Thank you. Thank you. It's an exciting project. I'm very happy to see it. I mean, that's just my own personal view. On that corner, we really do need another gas station because I always have to make that U-turn to go to now the Marathon, which used to be the BP. Okay, so I think it will do well with 7th Avenue. Any comments from the board?
Yeah.
Mr. McDermott?
Yes. Are you going to have cameras at this store?
Security cameras?
Yes.
Yes.
And what are you going to do about security? The 7-Eleven down here on the corner of 6th Avenue, 125th Street has become a real refuge for vagrants and panhandlers. And are you going to, in that 7th Avenue, in that particular area, you have a lot of crime problems. So what are you going to do in reference to security? Because that could easily become another point where you have people that.
I'll defer to Austin Rosen, who's from 7-Eleven Inc. himself, so as to just discuss overall. If you want, you can take that podium over there. Overall, Austin, if you could just discuss what security measures you usually take, perhaps also note the special circumstance with the other location here, so that that can be addressed.
I'm Austin Rosen, 7-Eleven Inc. I reside in Palm Beach County, and with regard to security, we have loss prevention efforts that are continually benefiting the operations, especially 24-hour operations. We have some police department outreach programs combined with sophisticated camera systems and management efforts as well, training. As part of our remodel effort and new development, we're continually seeing crime on the decline.
Thank you. And just for the record, can you state your address? Because I know you said Palm Beach.
Sure, yeah. Oh, yeah. 16204 Merida Lane, Delray Beach.
Thank you.
Sure. Well, if I might, I want you to answer his question of how this is going to be different than this. He mentioned that you were going to tell us how that would be different than this one here.
So the rollout of technology is, we've got, thousands of stores nationwide. The store down the street, 125th Street, has not been through the remodel, does not have the security system, and it's not a franchise store. We envision this because with new development, it's much easier to franchise. We'll have all the latest technology, which helps a lot.
Okay.
I have a question. Do you plan to remodel the store on 125th as well?
Yes, we have actually potential redevelopment discussion with you coming in the near future.
But it is privately owned. It's not a franchise.
Correct. Yeah, it's
Okay,
owned
so-
and operated by 7-Eleven.
Okay.
No, it's an exciting project, and I agree it's a nice add to 7th Avenue. It's just that we've had some real security issues over here at this store. It's just, you know, I'm sure you must know of them, and there doesn't seem to be much that ever gets done with it. So,
Well, I will give you our word here tonight that we're definitely going back to 7-Eleven Inc. and reporting, you know, what the situation and the concerns are with the existing location on 125th Street. And, you know, we will be talking with city administration about what else can be done.
yeah. Madam Chairman?
Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Anyone else? I think Ms. Boulay had something to say.
Yes, because this is my neighborhood, and you know, I basically grew up around there, just 2 minutes or so away from my home. I've noticed, as he stated before, with the vagrants and things like that, and sometimes they'll come from Northeast 6 and, you know, from 7th Avenue, they'll trickle from other cities that are conjoined with our city, and they will loiter and so on and so forth. What makes your 7-Eleven project so special, so to speak, that sets it aside from all the other new developments that are coming into the city? Also, what makes it stand out to where the things that we're doing with 7th Avenue and the other beautification projects that we're taking part in to rebuild the city, what makes that particular 7-Eleven a great addition to this project?
Well, from a first point, sort of, is on operations. Clearly, a new building's going to have new technology incorporated in there, so it's to try to help with the crime prevention and decrease in loitering and so forth, and better monitoring of the area. And then, to your second point on the issue of how does it sort of overall help in the overall enhancement of 7th Avenue, indeed, it's a marked improvement over the structures that exist there right now and the uses that exist there right now. We're bringing a national brand that's showing confidence here in this part of the city, and indeed a new building, new construction that's going to be a fairly high quality, you know, in a very important intersection, along with a new sort of monument marquee sign welcoming you into the city of North Miami and sort of proudly saying, you know, this is a business within North Miami.
My main concern is that I don't want our city, as we stated before, to be a pit stop to other cities that are you know, neighboring to our city. So definitely want to, you know, whatever you guys can do to make it more appealing to our residents and residents passing through,
Yeah.
to kind of patronize
Sure.
our businesses.
Yeah.
I
I
would
think-
definitely encourage
Yeah.
that.
One of
Mr.
the,
LeBrun,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I think you're trying to jump in and
Yeah,
say
Yes,
something.
I wanted to add, you know, as mentioned before, this application went to the DRC, and then as part of the DRC, many other departments have to review the plans, and police also had to review the plan for CPTED, which is crime prevention to environmental design. And then there's also other amenities that we have asked, you know, the applicant to provide, mainly, you know, the widening of, you know, the sidewalk to provide for bus shelters and stuff like that. We discussed those issues, and I think, you know, the police will also be involved in that. And then if any, to appease, you know, some of those concerns, you know, that can be part, you know, have a condition that, you know, they engage, you know, the city's police department to have, like, you know, which is already
Number 5 already addresses
Yes.
any requirements that may
yeah.
be imposed upon by the police department, anything that's reasonable.
And
So
then
it's
even
part of
the
the conditions.
issuance of the certificate of use, if there's any code violation, the city can revoke that, and then to make sure that those any issues, you know, perceived issue violation may be addressed. Okay.
Yeah.
I think the members of the board in voicing your concern, and 125th and 6th Avenue is a little bit different than what is being proposed, I believe, because within the surrounding or right next to that store, there are some smaller stores, and I do believe a laundromat is,
Yes.
and a bus stop. So all of these do tend to pull individuals, so it not necessarily the 7-Eleven, but, you know, the other things around it.
Yeah,
I-
well,
I'll
you
just
have
state that at that intersection, which I'm very familiar with, there is a vagrancy issue. Right now, they tend to congregate around the Marathon, which is right across the street, also a gas station. Some of them are mentally ill. You'll see them when you go through the McDonald's that's attached to the gas station. So technology is nice. That may not address your issues. Some of that you can work with the city to work out details. We're not putting it all on you, obviously. But, you know, be mindful of that. That has nothing, that has no bearing on what we're gonna vote on today.
Right.
But just so that you're familiar with the area,
Yeah, I can
she's
appreciate
right that
that.
it's
I was
different.
gonna mention across the street, and as you mentioned, it's a gateway to the city.
Right.
And what we don't want at the gateway to the city is, I mean, we just had a confrontation between a patron and a loiterer panhandler down here at 125th Street. And it's just, it gets, on Saturday nights and Friday nights, it gets to be like the biggest hangout in the city. And it's not good, and you got this marathon across the street. You know, now we talk, you know, it's been mentioned to the police at one time, and the response was, you guys don't prosecute. So they can't do anything. They just gotta let these guys back on the street, and they bring them and drop them off at 7-Eleven, because that's, you know,
If I can
so,
point out-
and that, I don't know, that's a corporate issue or whatever, but we don't want that to happen, particularly at the gateway to the city.
And I want to add to what Michael's saying, because this is going to be the gateway to our city, we expect that you will help us in cleaning up our city. We're really trying to bring cleanliness, garbage facilities, making sure it's not a place to litter. A lot of times people come to gas stations and they empty their car of garbage and it doesn't stay in the garbage and the wind blows it all over the neighborhood. We're putting a real effort forth to clean the city up, and so if it's approved, we expect that you'll be partners with us in that.
Thank you.
Understood. And we realize also that it's not just all technology. In the loitering
Yeah,
and
let me-
vagrancy issue, there's a
I
human
want
factor.
to also point
that needs
out
to be-
one difference between this project and the existing 7-Eleven. This prototype building has a lot of storefront glass and is oriented towards that corner, which does a couple things. It creates more transparency for activity inside the store. There's also our LED lighting program that comes with our new format stores, lights up the entire site, which makes it less attractive to hang out in. The store just down the street here on 125th does not have any glass facing 125th Street. It's a brick wall. So where people are hanging out or on down South 6th Ave a little bit, it's a little bit darker. So a combination of a remodel or redevelopment on that site will help that problem. And I think we'll avoid all of that by this new prototype that's been wildly successful.
And I think you need a strong management team that is gonna be able to get out there and say, move it. Okay?
Yep.
You know, that,
Okay.
you know, that's important, but, Madam Chairman?
But,
Oh.
hold on, Ms. Boulay.
As far as employment opportunities, will you be opening, thank you. Once the chain is open, will you open the application process to our residents first? Have you all discussed that as far as allowing the residents to apply for work there?
We will deploy our standard pre-opening application process for employees. It's an operations team-driven effort, and typically it's a local phenomenon. So while there's no specific effort to do that, that's typically how it evolves.
May I make a suggestion?
Sure.
If possible, once the structure is completed, maybe you can put some signage out, accepting applications or something like
That's
that.
what we do, yeah.
So hopefully the residents can get first dibs.
Absolutely.
In
Good
fact,
suggestion.
I'll take her suggestion one step further. Separate and apart from signage, and this is something obviously you can't commit to right here today. It's something you'd have to take back to your human resources department to see if it's even feasible. But to the extent that it is possible, if you could implement some type of preference for North Miami residents, which is kind of what I think my colleague was getting at, that would be preferred.
Will do.
Is that something you'll commit to, and
I can commit to exploring it, but I cannot speak to the
Yeah,
human
okay.
resources.
It has no bearing on this.
right, it
Yeah.
has no bearing on this, but, you know, while we have them here, you know.
No,
And,
listen, we
while
look
got
at
you.
we are community partners,
Yeah.
so we'd like to do more business and redevelopment and new development in this city. So our interests are aligned.
Okay. Madam
Mrs.
Chairman?
Stine Irvin?
Yes, thank you. Actually, I would just like to make a motion for approval. I'm at that point.
And
where-
I'll second that.
Right.
Thank you. Thank
So I need to make a motion to approve as recommended by staff, V1015. Am I correct, Attorney? Attorney?
Yes, that is
all
correct,
the
V1015.
recommendations. All right,
With all
then.
the proposed recommendations, including the last recommendation to include the requirement, obviously, which is already a city code, of the business tax receipt and the exploration of local preference in hiring.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
I
and
would
I-
also like to, if you would permit me to add, and I want to piggyback off of my colleagues, just in case I wanted you to know, that particular district has one of the lowest unemployment rate in our city. So I
The highest
really
unemployment,
wish
the
that
highest.
you.
Highest?
Yeah.
Highest
The
unemployment.
highest, I'm
Highest.
sorry, I apologize. the
I
highest.
understand.
I meant to
We
say
got
the
it.
lowest
Right.
unemployment. Yeah, the highest unemployment rate in our city, if not even in Dade County, one of the
Well, I think
highest.
with the right
So-
hiring, we'll get a similar attraction from friends and family and that sort of thing coming and supporting the existence of the business versus the other.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Ms. Philippe,
Yes.
Ms. Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. McDermott,
Yes.
Ms. Joseph,
Local preference if possible, yes.
Ms. Boo,
Piggybacking off of her, yes.
Ms. Hill,
Yes.
and Ms. Esteem Irvin.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very
You've
much.
been approved,
Thank you.
and we welcome you in our city. Well, you're already here, but we're excited to see this
Keep it
happen.
clean.
And may I ask just one question? Do you still have the same CEO that went in undercover boss?
Yes.
Because I learned quite a bit about 7-Eleven, and they are, people-oriented in that sense. They do a lot for their employees, so I hope
Thank
it's
you
not
very
on
much.
TV.
Thank you
Quick
very much.
question,
Thank
how
you.
long does the project take?
Construction process takes about 6 months.
Okay.
So this is a 2016, mid-2016 opening.
Mm.
And, Council, please convey back to whoever the great dissatisfaction with everybody on Sixth Avenue and 125th.
We heard it loud and clear, and we're committed to improving it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Point of clarification, my last name is pronounced Boulay.
Boulay. I was gonna tell her. Sorry. Okay.
I got it all through school, don't worry about it.
All right. And I believe our next case,
And the Haitian would say, I stand
V-14-15, Muslim Ummah, Center of Florida, Inc., 660. Did I skip? Oh,
1115
Excuse me.
Église Evangélique.
yes. I'm trying to rush this here. V-11-15, Église Évangélique Béret. I hope I said it right. 14125 Northeast 6th Avenue.
Oh, I have a disclosure.
Oh, go
I
ahead.
know the gentleman. I know the gentleman.
Do you have any interest in his business?
No.
Okay.
So now you're even with Mr. McDermott, so we can proceed.
Okay. Just making sure you know.
All right. Mr. LeBlanc.
This is a special exception request to allow a proposed religious institution at the property located at 14125 Northeast 6th Avenue, which is zone R6. And a little background, the subject property is located at the northeast corner of Northeast 6th Ave and Northeast 141st Street, comprising, about 14,000 square feet, and has been developed since 1946 with a single-family building, which over the years had been converted into a daycare facility. Pastor Israel, recently acquired the property and intends to use the same as a religious facility to hold regular Sunday services, as well as Bible study, parenting and financial planning classes, and other related ministry activity during the week. Based on the criteria set forth in the city's land development regulation for the review and approval of a special exception use, the staff has reviewed the application and is of the opinion that this application has met the standard to allow that type of use in that area. Even though it's a non-residential use, but the city's code right now, it does allow religious institution, to serve the needs, of the parishioners, living in those neighborhoods, and as a special exception use. And it's really a very small building, and less than 1,500. There will be that many parking required. We have worked with the applicant to provide on site, all the parkings that are required by code, and access would be mainly from northeast 6th Avenue, and then since the property is located at the corner of in the intersection of the two streets, it will not affect, the residential, structures, further east of the property, and there will be adequate access to the property, and there's enough parking, and there's one of the requirements is that the applicant, provide, or an opaque fence, to shield the property from the single family, immediately east of the site. And then all other basic public services are available to the site and already provided. And based on the foregoing, staff is of the opinion that this use comply with the requirements of the code, and recommend the request for approval subject to the condition listed in the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Pastor Israel, do you have something to add?
Yes, my name is Pastor Mervilos Israel. I live in at 1121 Northwest 141st Street. I'm seeking for approval for this institution. I'm a senior pastor of Église Évangélique Béret in North Miami. We are a diverse community of people who love the city of North Miami. My wife and I have been residents in this community for past 30 years. And I am working at North Miami Elementary as an educator for past 12 years. I would like to serve better the community. And I would like you, board members, to give me the opportunity to serve this community I love. Something that I touch my heart, okay? And I have some parents. Last week, I called to follow up my student with homework, home learning. They told me that they are struggle with the students. They need help. They're looking for help. They can't find help. They cannot help them at home with the homework. And I think that if we give me the opportunity to this location, I will be able to serve this community. After school, I could provide them tutoring, and in the weekend, I could make a workshop for the parents how to work with the student at home. I think we will thank you in advance for consideration of our application.
Thank you.
I have a point of order here. The special exception is pursuant to Division 2, Section 4-202, and that is correct. However, I've discovered that in the body where it states project summary and elsewhere in this document, it alludes to 4-302. For the record, it should be 4-202. I just want to make that straight and clear, that there is a scrivener's error, and wherever 4-302 is found, it ought to be 4-202. For 302, by one number, it sends it off to a commercial district, which this is not. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. All right. Anyone for or against this item? Close public hearing. board discussion.
Yes, I'd just like to make a motion to approve.
I have some questions.
Well,
but we
she
can ask the question.
Yeah,
Anyone for or against?
Oh.
That was my
Oh.
open and close. Okay, and she can still make it,
Yeah.
you know,
I'd
and
like to have a
discussion will come
after.
later.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, second.
Yeah, right, so I'd
Okay.
like to make a motion to
Now.
approve as recommended by the staff.
I have some questions.
No problem.
Ms. Hill, Ms. Joseph, did you have something?
Yes.
Ms. Cohen, okay, Ms. Hill.
Okay, how many members of your congregation do you have?
Actually have 45, but if you lok at the paper, it's 55, but at least
Right,
25.
I thought I saw
yeah,
55.
25.
My biggest concern, I looked through it and I applaud your interest in the community. My biggest concern, though, is that you have 13 parking spots. I'm concerned that on Sunday when you have your members there will not be sufficient parking. How do you plan to mitigate that?
We will provide the buses, and then I think we will have enough parking. And we'll use the bus to pick up people, and then around the location, the people could walk by to attend the church. So
When-
the parking would be any.
When your
big
13 parking spots are full, where will people park?
We could, I don't think it will be full, really full, because we have enough place to open more parking.
Where?
If you look at the left, east side, yeah, south and south, we probably have more parking.
That goes
Okay.
along with your question. My question is, your parking is adjacent to, right next to the home that's right there on the east side, and you slam a door, your alarms go off. I mean, it's kind of irritating to have 13 cars parked right adjacent to you on a daily basis. I would think that that would become very annoying to that property owner.
We will make accommodation if necessary with neighborhood.
How that could be done.
And we could use, as I said, we could use bus and for transportation, and then we don't have to get a full of cars, as you said.
May I?
Also, I don't think you'll have service every day, right? It's just
No.
Sundays and probably Tuesdays or something for Bible study.
Yes.
And normally Bible study is a lower amount of parishioners or turnouts rather who attend. Sundays will probably be the only concern, but he's also clarified that they use buses. Right now, your current congregation is at 35,
25.
25?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think 13 parking spots would be sufficient.
Yeah.
But in the future, as you grow, like you stated, you definitely want to explore the area that you mentioned along the side of your building for open additional parking spots.
I
rather.
have another question really quick.
I think you
Oh,
have
sorry.
something to clarify,
Yeah,
Mr.
Grace.
LeBron?
Yes.
Okay, and then.
When it comes to religious institutions, parking is calculated based on the size of the worship area or the service area, not on number of attendants. This is the way our code is written. Because if there's a surplus of cars, not being able, now the applicant would be in violation of that special exception use and also of the code. So they are not allowed to park anywhere else but those assigned parking. But as for now, based on the size of the property, the area of the service, the worship area, it meets code.
Yeah, actually, the proper measure is one parking space per 100 square foot, or square feet of gross floor area. It's not based on membership. So the
Right.
formula, I understand your concern, but the formula is based on.
This is my concern. Well, first of all, a question. How many people will be employed at your church on a daily basis?
We don't employ people right now because we
Okay.
just started.
Okay.
Yeah, just started.
My concern is sometimes when parking's not sufficient, and hopefully you grow exponentially. It's a good problem to have. But what happens is the streets become full of parking on the sides and in residential neighborhoods, and it becomes hard for the neighborhood to the residents of the neighborhood to kind of absorb that extra parking. So truthfully, I'm just having a hard time with this 13 parking spots.
But if you look at the square feet, the 13 parking is required for 13,939 square feet. 13 parking is reasonable. And then if we have more people, we will find a different ways to manage it. But I know we have enough spaces to hold the members we do have.
May I? I'm asking myself permission, but
You
wanted to
may.
make sure.
You definitely may.
I just want to ask, the entrance to the parking will be on 141st, correct? And not on 6th Avenue?
Not on 6th Avenue.
Okay, because that's a concern for me.
Yeah.
And you do realize that that intersection is only a right turn?
Yes, right.
Okay, so make sure that the
Yes,
person.
yes.
Okay, and to answer your question or your concern, Ms. Hill, I do know that in my community, I guess, in churches like this, they do tend to rely on the pastor or the church bus picking them up and not too many of them driving. So, you know, we're not like the Catholics who drive everywhere.
Catholic.
Okay. Okay, but hey, that's what it is. Father Frankie never offers any buses to pick us up. So if you don't drive, you don't go. Okay, so that's my thing. I wanted to say if that's a concern, because that's how I see. Miss Cohen?
The only other question I have is between where these people are gonna park and the other house, is there a lot of shrubbery? Is there a lot of way of absorbing the noise? Or
But
is there-
understand, I know that property well.
Yeah.
It used to be Small World Montessori, so
Okay.
they had,
They
you
had
know,
it.
so it's a childcare center, so they had people going in and out, you know, pick up, and so they're used to this, so there is, I think, enough buffer.
And
to
there is something that says that they're supposed to replace the chain link fence on the eastern property line with an opaque fence or landscaped hedge or wooden fence that's supposed to grow up to 6 feet.
No.
Okay, yeah.
I apologize, I'm gonna have to step out for just a moment and without even getting details, but you can record my vote as a yes when you get to that point. I'll be right back.
Can we just call the question?
What? Any other discussion?
No.
Okay, we'll call the question. It's been motion and seconded? Yes. Okay. Roll
That was
call.
just for the record.
You had anyone?
No?
Okay. Make her first. Ms. Joseph. You okay? Oh.
Yes, yes.
That's a yes.
Go, 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 go.
Ms. Joseph.
All right, Ms. Philippe,
Yes.
Ms. Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. McDermott,
Yes.
Ms. Boulay,
Yes.
Ms. Hill,
A hesitant yes.
and Ms.
No means the same.
Ms.
no.
Esteem Irvin.
Yes.
Keep those cars off the street.
You've been approved, and
Good
good luck, and, you know,
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What time are your services?
10 Sunday
Sundays.
school, 10 to 11, worship 11 to 1:45, 12:45.
till 45, okay.
Okay. All right. Well,
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you. I pray for you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, so, do we wait? Is she okay?
She said she's in pain.
Okay.
We can,
Okay.
we have
can-
quorum, so we can
Okay,
proceed.
we'll move on. Okay. Make sure that she's all right. And I'll follow this. Next case, V-12-15, 134 West Dixie Service Station LLC, 13480 West Dixie Highway.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a very old application that we have here in front of us tonight. This application started, even before I started here with the city. And then there was a site plan approval that started, back in 2013, but 14 that was never finalized. But as they were reviewing it, there was some issue with with one of the building on the property. The applicant is trying to put like a regular, convenience. So right now they only have a kiosk at that gas station. So they basically applying for setback variance to expand that kiosk into a legitimate convenience store to serve, the users of the gas station. So as a result, they are applying for setback variance, to have, that the proposed, convenience store, 1,250 square feet convenience store, to have a setback of 3 feet from the rear and 5 feet from the side, where 10 feet are required by code. And again, this application has been already reviewed by the city DRC committee. The real setback really is really a non-issue, because in the back of the property, I think it's in a little alley. And then the south side, which is the south side, next to the Bank of America, this is another a large parking lot, and I think that would have any deleterious or negative effect on the surrounding properties. So we have reviewed this application, this request, under the criteria of Article 4, Division 3, Section, Division 6, Section 3-606, which requires that, at least 4 of those criteria be met for the granting of a variance request. And based on our analysis, the application has met at least 4 of those criteria. 2 not being applicable, and staff is recommending approval, for the variance request, subject that the applicant apply for a building permit within 12 months of said approval. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board.
Good
My name
evening.
is Michael Isaac with 134th Street West Dixie Service Station. Like Mr. LeBrun stated, this is an existing gas station, just like the 7-Eleven. It might be a 7-Eleven, okay? This is it used to be a Shell gas station. It became a Valero. Valero purchased it a couple years ago, and now UGas purchased it. This is gonna be a 1,250 square feet convenience store, potentially a 7-Eleven, okay, with Valero sales. Now, based on the last gas station that was here, is gonna have cameras all over the building to prevent crimes and crime prevention, like
A little higher?
A lot higher, actually.
Ah, the legs come out. There you go.
There you go. Now we're cooking. With oil. Gasoline.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, that looks good.
Ah, one leg is. Got it.
well, if there's any question, when the construction is 90% done, they will have a employment just for the city of North Miami first, just like you stated. So, if there are any questions, then I'm here to answer.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Anyone for or against this item? We're opening public hearing. Public hearing closed. Board discussion.
Yeah, I have one question.
Sure.
Are you gonna make that corner that's like jutting out pretty? You-
Closer to 135th?
Yeah, right. It's like the, right, that's
yeah.
the spot.
There's greenery
Yeah,
there.
something pretty and
Yes,
green.
we're
Is-
adding more landscaping.
Okay.
We're adding more landscaping. Right now, there's no landscaping.
Is that a requirement?
Yes, that is a requirement.
That is a requirement.
It's
Okay.
about 15% of landscape area.
Okay.
I want to just point out that the landscaping goals in our comprehensive plan in the city of North Miami give preference to native plants, native Florida-friendly plants. So I
That is
encourage
correct.
you
Yes.
to.
We have
follow
landscaping
that.
plans as part of the package.
No more of those olive trees, please.
I love olive.
Florida-friendly native
They're
plants. Thank you.
shades. They have
Yes.
Plenty of shade.
And they make a mess.
Well,
Okay.
I'll motion to move approval.
Second.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Roll call, please. Oh, oh.
It's not over until the vote's counted.
Okay, that's right.
Roll call, please.
fat
Ms.
lady
Philippe?
didn't sing.
Yes.
Ms. Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. McDermott,
Yes.
Ms. Joseph, Ms. Boulay,
Yes.
Ms. Hill,
Yes.
Ms. Esteem Irvin,
Yes.
Estime, I'm sorry.
Accents are there. Sorry, we're bothering. All right, you've been approved.
Thank you very much.
And congratulations, we're happy, just like 7-Eleven, we're happy to see something happening in that corner because that gas station has a lot of business. So what took you guys so long?
I know, we tried, but
But it's true. I know the area.
Try to
Again,
have more
this-
healthy snacks if possible.
Welcome to the city, but again, be aware of the security issues.
that is correct.
Keep your parking lot clean.
We'll be cleaning it now.
So,
Can't wait.
so who provides the gas? Is it Valero that's providing the gas?
I believe so. Valera is still
Is-
providing gas?
Valero's or
That is
you
correct.
guys?
Valero will
Valero?
provide gas, yes.
And then 7-Eleven will occupy the building?
That is correct.
And it has nothing to do with it, but just so you know, now that you'll become a convenience store, it's very close to the high school and the junior high and all that. Be prepared to have lots of kids in there, so when they said keep it clean, candy wrappers and all, potato chip things, things like that, and make sure they're not selling alcohol, of
Exactly.
course, you know.
That's correct, yes.
That's it.
Thank you.
Take care.
Still your turn.
All right. Now, next item, V-14-15, Muslim Ummah, I believe I'm saying it right, Center of Florida, Inc., 660 Northwest 121st Street. And Mr. LeBrun, would you please give us the background?
Okay, yeah.
Please state your name and address for the record.
My first name is Nurul and last name is Amin, A-M-I-N.
Thank you. Did you give your address?
My residing address is 1359 Northeast 127th Street and apartment 211, North Miami, Florida 33161.
Thank you. Mr. Nixon, you may proceed.
Thank you. This is another special exception use for religious institution at the property located at 654-660 Northwest 121st Street, which are zone C1 in the city's in adopted zoning map. The property consists of 4 lots, lots 12, 13, 14, and then which is right at the end of, the 121st Street, along I-95. The applicant, Mr. Nurul, is under contract to purchase the property and then to establish, that the religious institution there, and with approximately 25 congregants.
Yes.
Yes. And it has obtained, sworn consent of the property owner on record, which is Elwick Prince LLC, to file the special exception application. Again, we have reviewed those criteria as with other, religious institution or special exception use, and to ensure that the application demonstrates compliance with the following standard: whether the use is listed as a special exception in the district, whether there's appropriate provision for access facility, adequate for the estimate traffic from public street and sidewalks, whether there are adequate parking areas and such, whether there's enough landscaping, especially if there's, adjacent residential uses, and also whether, that special exception is reasonable in terms of logical and economic extension. Again, based on our analysis, the application meets all such applicable standards, and staff, has made a recommendation that the Board of Adjustment, approve this, this petition subject to the condition listed in the staff report. Thank you. Which is all the same.
Thank you. All right, anything else we would like to add, the applicant?
I would like to say thank you very much for this project that you are considering. We are living in, I'm living in North Miami for like last 19 years, and it is my dream. And actually, there are so many children in the Miami Shore area living from the Muslim community, and also in North Miami, those who do not have the facility for the learning the Islam or the religion. So we decided to purchase that property, and if we get agree, hopefully we'll stay in the religious manner, and it won't have any bad effect in the community. And of course, we'll try to serve the community in the manner that it should be. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Okay, thank you. We'll open public hearing. Anyone for or against? Would you like to speak?
He said four.
Oh,
Did you say
okay.
four?
You like to speak?
Thank you.
She asked if you would like to speak.
Did you want to say anything?
He just said he's for it.
He's
You're
for
for
it.
it. Okay.
That pretty much covers
To the
it.
point.
Right, madam, many words, huh?
All right. Any board discussion? We'll close public hearing. Thank you. Thank you. Board discussion?
I just have a question. Will your, is it considered church? What is it considered? I'm sorry.
It's considered as a mosque.
A mosque. Okay, so will your mosque cater to children? I understand that you just mentioned something about children in the Miami Shores community. So will you do like tutoring and things like that?
That's
what
right.
the other gentleman did?
We'll do like Saturday, Sunday from 10 to 12, like 2 hours for children religious education.
Madam Chairman?
Yes, Mr. McDermott.
I'd like to move to approve.
Second.
Move to approve.
Any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Philippe,
Yes?
Ms. Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. McDermott,
Yes.
Ms. Joseph, Ms. Boulay,
Yes.
Ms. Hill,
Yes.
Ms. Esteem Irvin.
Yes.
Irvin.
You got it, yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Good luck. I appreciate it.
Okay. And our very last, where is it? Okay, and our next case, V-15-15, Christ Victory Church, 13621 Northwest 7th Avenue. And Pastor Robinson?
Yes.
Okay.
Name and address.
I need to interpret, please, because I speak a little bit.
Okay.
You'll do the interpreting? Okay, thank you, Mr. LeBrun.
Il dit non avec adresse.
Ok, non, c'est Robinson Clerget. Et adresse ça, c'est 136-35 et Nord-Ouest 7e Avenue.
His name is Robinson Clergy, and then his address 13621 Northwest 7th Avenue, which is basically the business address. You want the, where is it? No, that's
Whichever.
doesn't matter.
That's fine. Okay. Anything else? Vous voulez ajouter l'autre bagaille?
Or, nous accompagnons avec madame, non, c'est Évangéliste Mirla Clerget. Et nous sommes en mission. Nous sommes en mission et bon Dieu voit nous pas bon ici pour nous servir aux communautés et nous comptons pour nous là ensemble avec vous.
Somebody, we need to translate both the question and the answer.
I did.
You did?
Anything else you'd like to add?
Okay.
Yes, and the answer is he say is tonight is with his wife, evangelist,
Mirla Clerget.
Mirla Clergy, and that has been they on a mission to serve in the community, and then they would expect get an approval tonight.
Okay, we got it. All right. Well, Mr. LeBrun, the background, please.
For this one, we have your new zoning administrator,
Mr. Dixon, go ahead.
Mr. Andrew Dixon.
Okay, applicant. Hello. The applicant, Pastor Robinson. Yes, this is a special exception to allow a proposed religious institution, a property located at 13621 Northwest 7th Avenue. It's located in a C1 district. The subject property is located on the northeast corner of Northwest 135th and Northwest 7th Avenue. The lot size is approximately 36,315 square feet. It was developed in 1954. And the hours of operation for this religious institution is on Fridays from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. and Sundays 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. The history, the records, or history records for this location came up negative. It was predominantly used as commercial. The neighborhood characteristic is all commercial surroundings, both to the north, south, and east and west is all commercial. Based on the criteria in the city's LDR, the following standards were met. The use is listed special exception in the district where the property is located. There is appropriate provision for access facilities adequate for estimated traffic from public streets and sidewalks so as to assure the public safety to avoid traffic congestions. There are adequate parking areas and off-street truck loading spaces for the anticipated number of occupants, employees, patrons, and a layout of parking in convenient and conducive to safe operation. The proposed special exception is reasonable in terms of logically efficient and economic extension of both services and facilities, such as public water, sewers, police and fire protection, and transportation. The last one, the proposed special exception will constitute an appropriate use in the area and will not substantially injure, detract from the use of surrounding property or from character of the neighborhood. Based on staff analysis on all these criteria, we find that this request complies with the applicable standards, and staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon.
As a point of order, Madam Chair, I'd like to announce that my search of the state of Florida revealed that the entity Christ Victory Church, Inc. is inactive as of September 25th, 2015. If this board moves to approve, I would like to add a condition, and that would be the proper filing with the state of Florida to reactivate the entity. Thank
Okay.
you.
Please.
Madam Chair?
Hold on.
Okay.
I would like for you to translate so the gentleman would understand first.
Et les checker dans son visio ouais que et corporation n'est pas enregistré avec estate là. So comme yeah. Il n'est pas actif, il a supposé réactiver et c'est une condition si application si approuvé application ça c'est une condition que réactiver ça avant que même bon un certificate of use.
I have a question. Is the
Well,
church?
hold on.
Sure.
Let me quickly
clear,
open
right.
and close public hearing, okay? And now we'll have board discussion.
Right. Is the church currently functioning now?
No.
No, the church is not. To my colleagues, I feel more comfortable, and I don't know when we're going to meet again, to table this, let him be active, let him activate his corporation and come back. Could we do that?
We
Or-
could leave it as a condition.
The C would require that.
It's it's something that could be done
minutes
online.
Okay. Right.
And we will hold on to the special exception. We will not execute it until such time as he provides the filing, because it is under an entity. I would hate for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's another
It's
2 months.
curable. It's curable, and yeah, that's exactly my point. It's something that could be cured within, I'd say, a few minutes, and a submission to the state of
A
Florida.
credit card and $65.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
problem. I motion that we.
But I thank you for your concern. That
No
is-
problem.
Thank you.
I motion that we accept
As
as
a nonprofit.
recommended by staff.
If it was something more
second.
critical, I would have
Yeah.
I
sounded the
just have
alarm.
a quick question. I see your hours on Fridays are 8 p.m. till 12 a.m. Is that correct? What do you?
Yes.
What is?
There will be
What's going on until midnight there?
Prayers.
revivals,
alright.
praying.
Somebody
Yes.
translate.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Late at night.
Motion was made by Ms. Irvin, Ms. Simi Irvin, and
Second.
seconded by Mr. McDermott. Sorry.
You beat me.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Ms. Philippe,
Yes.
Ms. Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. McDermott,
Yes.
Ms. Joseph,
Yes.
Ms. Boulay,
Yes.
Ms. Hill,
Yes.
Ms. Estime Irving.
Yes.
Yo approuvé. Donc, vous connaissez que pour réactiver, il faut aller sur Internet là, très, très, très facile. OK? Parce que sous temps trop longtemps, il y a mis extra fees sous lui. OK? So I've basically said, Mr. City Attorney, that he's been approved and that he needs to reinstate his business entity, okay,
the
which is
internet,
very,
and if he
on the
waits too
internet,
long.
and it could be done right quickly,
Yeah.
easily.
Congratulations.
Okay, okay. Yes, pray for us.
Better than hanging around 7-Eleven all night.
I have a question.
Yeah.
please, Directed to Mr. Nixon. I have, I guess, I don't know if it's economic development mindset, but I guess I somewhat have an issue with church facilities on 7th Avenue.
Why?
Don't say that. Because it's not bringing any revenues to, I'm a Christian, for the record. But I just want,
I hear
think,
what
you know,
you're saying,
in
and I
accordance
think with-
to, right, and just in accordance to our comp plan or what we want, the vision that we want for our cities, I don't know if,
Call me. Yes.
Alupa.
It's if as long as they're properly zoned, we have to look at religious institutions as any
As
other.
the same? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
No, I mean, to add to what Mr. City Attorney just said, because back in 2001, the George Bush administration passed, our LUPA, which is Religious Land Use Institutionalized and Persons Act. So, I mean, if you tend to discriminate against churches, because churches you can be viewed as any place of public assembly. If you allow, in public assembly, you cannot discriminate against churches. And if a city does that, then the Department of Justice would come down on you.
I don't think it's Jesus. I don't.
Right.
I don't think it's a discrimination. I do understand that we would like to see real businesses in the business corridor, but
I
it's
think
really up
that-
to the owner of the property because
Right.
they're not going out there to really do their diligence to find some
I
businesses.
think though that we have to kind of redefine what is a contribution to our community. I agree with you. I want to see some real solid development on Northwest 7th Avenue. However, contributions of money and cash are awesome. We need it. But some of these organizations will bring some of the community building that we really need desperately in that area as well. So maybe, weighing the two contributions, maybe it's not such a bad idea.
Can I ask just one question? Does this preclude, would this preclude a bar going in or a restaurant selling alcohol? I mean, does that stop that kind of development?
Well, there are other requirements that are imposed on a
Well-
bar and that are not imposed
on
on a religious institution.
I mean, I know schools would preclude it, but would
Yes.
a church also?
Yes.
Within the what?
Within
Actually,
how many feet?
actually, if the church comes in, a bar cannot be within 1,500 feet of that church. So in essence, yes, you're pushing away the existence of bars
But they can't
by
force them out.
establishing a religious institution. Because it is the liquor licensee that is required to be within 1,500 feet away
1,500
from
feet.
a religious institution, a park, or for that matter, a school.
Such a difficult thing though, because a lot of these religious communities are finding the cheapest rent because they don't make a lot of money. So
Again,
we're kind
yeah,
of competing with a lack of investment and cheap rent.
But that analysis could be equally applicable to a business that's trying to save on rent.
Right.
We
Yeah.
cannot- we
Yeah, I
cannot-
guess that's
we-
true. That's
we
true.
cannot distinguish one is very dangerous grounds to be, because I could be a business owner, I could be looking to, right? So, yeah, call me.
With that said, do we have any old business?
I have a question. Does that
Under
mean
old business or new business?
just from this business?
Okay.
Some
So
business.
what we're
Some
doing-
business. Any
Any
business.
business.
Does that mean
None of your
a
business.
Chili's or Flanagan's or something like that that has a bar inside of the restaurant have to still build 150 feet or so away?
A bar is a different animal from a restaurant.
Okay.
The licensing, is an SRX license, which requires, it's a
Special requirement.
completely different world.
Okay.
The bar has much harsher restrictions, harder requirements, because they need not sell food. They could sell, their gross sales can consist of 100% alcoholic beverages.
Right.
Whereas a restaurant they cannot exceed 49% of alcoholic beverages. They actually have to have at least 51 sales in food. So it's a whole different. And by the way, the state completely regulates that to the max.
Just so that I don't say nothing on this point, I agree with my colleague in terms of there are other needs of the community. So there's economic needs, there's spiritual needs, there are other needs, and it's not necessarily our job to prioritize them, but in terms of looking at economic development, we can consider things like the impact on our tax base and all of that good stuff. But churches, as a legal entity, do qualify as a business. Whether they're for-profit, non-profit, that's a whole different story. So I just wanted to put that out there.
If I may add, one of, to your point, one of the limitations that you can put in your land development regulations is to limit the number you can have within one shopping center. I mean, you see some communities do that, because you cannot stop them, because that would be, I mean,
So do we have such a limitation?
Right, and I think that's probably what I probably wanted to articulate better, because my concern is, once again, I love the North Miami, and on
Proliferation.
Seventh Avenue, I have noticed an increase. And again, I am not anti religion in any form or fashion, but I am also, you know, we're doing the people's business, so I'm kind of looking at. I
Well,
understand what you're saying,
yeah,
and I'm
I
in
think-
agreement,
I
that we need
think-
the balance of the spirituality, we need
I
the balance
think
of the
that
economic
people,
development.
by and large, do not want to impose any further restrictions on bringing economic opportunity and development to that area.
But the landlord,
Yeah.
once can get a higher rent, we'll kick them out. I mean, it
Yeah.
didn't
Exactly.
sell it to
The
the
market
church.
will correct
Yeah,
itself.
it will
correct
correct
itself.
itself. So when
Mhm.
someone wants to move in
Yeah.
and they're gonna get a higher rent, they're gonna get a higher rent.
So
They're
I
not-
have a question, do we have a limitation now?
No.
How can we
No,
go?
well, actually, since we've just transmitted or about to transmit the comprehensive plan, we, within 1 year of adoption, have to redo the LDRs.
which is the zoning code.
So,
Perhaps.
which, that's gonna get to those details. Those
Okay.
details are, stay tuned, they're coming up.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
Any new business?
Yes, I have something.
Yes, Mr. McDermott?
Besides the fact that I agree with everybody on the economic development issue.
That's politically correct.
Whatever it is.
No, it's really true. I do agree because of the fact that sometimes just the appearance of a neighborhood in what's on a street influences developers and what they think they can build and what they think they can attract. So that's a definite, very, very valid point. But my new business is, I would like to thank Nixon LeBron very much for all the work that he's done for this Board of Adjustment. We're welcoming a new gentleman, and
Hello,
we,
Mr.
you know,
Dixon.
and so we welcome
Nixon,
him.
I know.
Whatever.
But again, we want to thank Nixon for all of his help, and so thank you very much, Nixon.
And we in turn would like to welcome Ms. Hill to the board, a very challenging, exciting board, so, hey, welcome.
Enjoying it, thank you.
Welcome back, Mr. Stewart.
Okay, welcome back. That's
Yes.
right. That's true.
Absolutely, welcome back.
All right.
So,
Can we
Motion
adjourn?
Anything else? Motion to
Second.
adjourn?
I second, I third, I fourth.
Good night, everyone.